why do we plan when we start to work on issue campaigns to change the world? Why do we plan? What are some of the reasons? Hands again.
Well, without a plan, we don't know who do you talk to. We don't know what's going to be the best tactics to go and reach people or communicate what the issue is to the common person to maybe get some ground support going, or
Yep.
Also to make sure that we're speaking to the right people. You know, if you don't have a plan, it's never going to go, and you're never going to get success. You have to go and figure out where that point is.
Yeah, it identifies key stakeholders. Who are we going to talk to, and what are we going to do? Let's get some more hands up. What else does a plan help us do? I see a hand back there, right here. Yeah.
Opportunity favors the prepared, so I imagine having a plan makes sure you're ready for success.
Yeah, having a plan increases your likelihood of success, and you know where you're going. Other reasons to plan. There's a person here. And please remember to say your name before you speak and then share your comment.
Sure. My name is Ricky Carter. One of the advantages of a plan is that people don't end up going off in a bunch of different directions on their own, so you have a kind of focus.
Yeah. The work that you're about to engage in or embark upon is incredibly important, and you don't want to diffuse your energy. You want to make sure that it's focused in the way you want, right? That's what I just heard you say. Provides focus and direction so people know exactly where they're going. It also uses resources and people efficiently. That was what this gentleman over here said. Share your name again. Keith Bernard. Great. But it also establishes benchmarks. It helps us to figure out, are we going in the direction that we want to? If we want to eliminate homelessness in our community, like was shared earlier, are we actually seeing people off the streets and in shelter, or are they just leaving our communities because it's become hostile, right? It helps us to evaluate our work. And it lets you know if you're winning, which is important when we actually want to change the world for the better. We want to improve people's lives. It is life or death sometimes. Getting someone off the street during winter can be a life or death issue. So when we talk about winning, it is not just about a sportsman-like competition. It is actually matters of life and death that you deal with when you want to change the world. And finally, we put plans together, and we do this work in the theory of change to make sure that we're democratizing knowledge, that as we are out talking to our neighbors, our friends, people in our organizations, they understand not just the tactic that we're engaged in. We're doing a flash mob. Great, this is what we're going to do. And in a step, doot, 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 right? It's good that they know that, but why? Why are we doing it at U.S. Senator Cory Gardner's office, and why are we doing it at noon on the day that this vote is being held? That we're actually helping people to understand beyond just the tactics what needs to happen to change the world. So we heard a little bit of this earlier, but a strategic plan answers these key questions. Who will do what, to whom, when, and for how much? And this is essential as we start to put together our theory of change connected to issue campaigns. So who assigns who is responsible for doing the work, the actual implementation day in and day out, and the what defines the most effective activities and actions to demonstrate and leverage our power. So we're not just choosing tactics because they sound fun or kitschy or that they would be really cool to put on Facebook, but they are actually about leveraging our power. They are strategic choices connected to changing the world for the better. And then whom actually is the key decision makers that we're trying to influence and that we're actually trying to get our targets to do something. I'll talk about these terms in just a second. When is just the campaign timeline with each action and activity. And then how much? What are the resources we're expending? That's time, people, or money. How are we expending it? And then how much of that will it take? Do we need 200 volunteers to occupy an office? Do we need 1,000 voters to turn out in this election? Do we need lots of money to put ads on TV about how terrible this health repeal vote will be? We actually have to start putting numbers to paper if we want to figure out how to make this work. So when we talk about building grassroots power to affect change or how we begin to build a movement, there's the interplay between advocacy, grassroots organizing, and electoral work. I talked a little bit about this, but I want you all to understand the difference between organizing and mobilizing. Organizing is the deep relationships that we build for purpose, for strategic purpose. And so that's at the core of grassroots organizing. Mobilizing work is getting those relationships to do the things that we need to affect the change we want. So that's actually mobilizing. You've built those relationships. Now you're going back to those people who care about those same issues, interests, and values that you care about to go and lobby their state legislators or their city councilors or their members of Congress. It's actually building up coalitions to maybe move a ballot measure. Or it's saying, hey, this is all for naught. Let's actually change the picture and decide who should be in office differently in the electoral work.